Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. I gave you a few extra days with your family, but all that is over, so you better have had enough time with your family, because now it's time to talk about your favorite superhero, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, in Spider-Man 2. This film has been always regarded as one of the best comic book films of all time, possibly the best Spider-Man film of all time. I have always disagreed with that. I think it is a little overrated, but I do think this is a really, really good Spider-Man movie. I think it is on par with the first film, although I do connect with the first film a little more because I've always liked Green Goblin as a villain more than I've liked Doc Ock, but Alfred Molina freaking crushes the role of Doc Ock in this film and really shows you that Otto Octavius is not an evil man. It's the chip in the back there that gets on the fritz and the arms take over, and that's what makes him become a good guy. And that leads into No Way Home, where I think the nanotech from Spider-Man's armored suit maybe repairs that thing, and I think Doc Ock will be on the side of the good guys after a brief first fight with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Can't wait to see Alfred Molina. This film is the one that I think is really gonna tie into No Way Home with the Doc Ock connection. It made me so much more excited for Doc Ock in No Way Home because I was pumped to see it, but I was like, I'm more excited for the Green Goblin, but now I'm so stoked to see all these villains come back. Of course, you have Toby Maguire coming back as Spider-Man in this one, Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane, James Franco as Harry Osborn, Aunt May, of course, comes back in this one. I gotta say, I think she is my favorite iteration of Aunt May. She just nails how I feel about Aunt May in the comic books. Older woman, always laying down the wise wisdom. Like, she'll travel the whole way across the city just to give Peter advice. Like, that's comic book Aunt May right there. I'm sure if the storyline existed, this Aunt May would have started and helping out with Feast and stuff if that storyline had existed at this moment in the comic books. I still don't think Mary Jane's the best character in this film, but one of my favorite parts is, of course, still the relationship between Peter and Harry, because this one, Harry, of course, knows that Spider-Man killed his father, so he's kind of delving more into the supervillain side of things on his journey to becoming the next Green Goblin. And of course, this film starts to tease the substance abuse that leads to him becoming Green Goblin in the comics. It's not as hardcore in these movies. You just see him drinking more than he did in the first one, but definitely is hinting at that storyline in the comic books as he helps Doc Ock out, and Doc Ock learns that Peter is Spider-Man, and it just goes crazy from there. The big end fight, of course, is fantastic out on the bay there, where Doc Ock meets his doom, but some of the best stuff. Like I said, not a huge fan of the Peter-Mary Jane relationship in this trilogy, but some of the best stuff comes from this final battle where Mary Jane's there and he has to save her. And I never put it together, of course I should have, but I never put it together that, Mary Jane, the ending of all three of these films is Mary Jane needing saved. I don't think they'd probably do that nowadays, the big damsel in distress thing. And of course, this film, keeps evading them getting together until the very, very end, and I don't understand why J. Jonah Jameson keeps employing Peter Parker after he steals his son's woman and, ruins all their plans and throws all that money J. Jonah Jameson spent down the freaking drain. And one of my favorite scenes, of course, is the part where J. Jonah's son proposes to Mary Jane. That whole party scene is fantastically awkward. You start to really see the friction between Peter and Harry in that scene, of course, and towards the beginning when we first see Harry, you get that tension too, and it's just, as much as I love Alfred Molina, my favorite part about this trilogy will always be the relationship between Peter and Harry, and just how fascinating it is. It's so good, this in the comic books. It's just, one of the best relationship in all of media. So Spider-Man 2, while I don't think is the best Spider-Man movie, and I don't think it's one of the best superhero films of all time, not even in my top 10 if I'm being honest with you, I do think it's a damn good movie, right on par with the first Spider-Man. I'm going to give Spider-Man 2 a 8.5 out of 10. Definitely going to be probably the biggest tie-in to No Way Home, so if you're going to check out just one of these previous Spider-Mans, this would probably be the one I'd recommend to you. So Spider-Man 2 gets an 8.5 out of 10 here on the channel. Make sure you comment down below with what your thoughts are of Spider-Man 2. Where do you think Doc Ock's going to tie into No Way Home? Do you think he dies? Do we see him die again? But in this time, it's like, oh no, because he's helping out Spider-Man in the next one. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out. But make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel before we get to Friday's video of Spider-Man 3. And then we got the Amazing Spider-Man series. Then we're going to jump into the MCU and Spider-Verse. So make sure you stick around for all that stuff. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys right here next time.